Well, for some analysis, we can speak to Douglas Yates, a political science professor at the American Graduate School in Paris, specializing in African politics. Thank you so much, as always, for speaking with us. First, what do you make of this Sahel alliance between Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso? Can they accomplish what they're setting out to do, notably in the fight against jihadists?
Right. So these three individuals, because that's really what it is, are each of them military rulers who came to power by coup d'etat. They're simply unfrequentable by ECOWAS. Sanctions had been imposed upon them, and the official position of ECOWAS was that these individuals should be preparing elections for a transition. So none of these three individuals really has any place in ECOWAS. And as a result, they've had their governments pull out of ECOWAS, and they've created this, well, it's a showcase confederation of Sahel states. These are three highly poor, highly indebted, landlocked states with almost no autonomous ability to solve the food crisis. And you go, what are they doing? Well, there's an answer. These are client regimes of Russia. So they've renounced France, they've renounced the West, and in January, they even renounced their African brothers in ECOWAS as clients of the West. But if you say, where are they getting their resources? They're getting them from Russia. Arms sales from Russia, information operations being conducted by Russia, a new nuclear power agreement with Russia. So what we're really looking at in the bigger picture of international relations is these three states shifting their alliance to Russia.
And what are the consequences of that shift going to be? And is there anything that ECOWAS or France or other Western countries can do about it?
Well, okay, so the Three Borders region, which is kind of the coherent way of thinking about these three countries, that point where the three countries intersect, is suffering a curse of jihadism, organized crime, banditry, intercommunal conflicts, and cross-border military operations. So what these three military rulers would like to do is eradicate that. But that's exactly what has failed, both with the U.S. policy and the French policy, to treat these people as terrorists and to seek to find a military solution by eradicating them has not worked and will not work. So the real question is, can these three generals, with Russian aid, create development, reduce poverty, provide social services, and give young teenagers in the three border regions better career opportunities than jihadist terrorism, human trafficking, and smuggling?
And how likely is it, do you think, that they can do that? I mean, is that what their priority is, or are they also going to try and solve it militarily?
Yeah, well, I think that, first of all, they won't solve it militarily because we've seen billions of dollars spent by the world's great powers trying to solve it militarily. These generals represent the southern tips of their countries, and they're fighting their own citizens who live in the marginalized north. They weren't able to do it with billions of dollars of aid and military hardware coming from the West. I don't think they'll be able to do it with a handful of Russian mercenaries. Now, as far as solving the deeper problems, why there is terrorism, they're doing absolutely nothing to solve those problems. Azawad is a claim of the Tuaregs in the north of Mali. There is no plan of these three generals with their new confederation to do anything to recognize the legitimate claims of internal colonialism by the peoples of the north in those countries.
Right, it is a grim picture that you paint, but thank you, Douglas Yates, as always, for your analysis. That's Douglas Yates, a political science professor at the American Graduate School in Paris, specializing in African politics.